Good evening and welcome to Conversations with Harriet. I know you're surprised to see me here again this week because we thought we weren't going to be back on until the fall. So God prepared us to be here for today and we're really excited. I have an awesome show for you today. I have Elder Juliet Davis is here with Elder Juliet Davis Ministries, and also Elder Travis Woods will be with us a little bit later. We're going to be talking about keeping the faith through tough times. So we're excited about that. We're also going to be talking about some current events that are going on. So I want you to call someone, to text someone, to send a carrier pigeon, as I sometimes say, whatever you have to do. Facebook them, just let them know that Conversations with Harriet is on the air. Make sure you also tune into my website, which is www.harrietroberson.com. You can also go to Conversations with Harriet, the Facebook page, and you can like us. You can also check out my Facebook page and facebook.com/Harriet Roberson. So now we got all that out the way, we're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, Elder Juliet Davis will be with us, and we're so excited to have her. So you make sure, again, get on the phone. Let somebody know that Conversations with Harriet is on the air. We'll be right back. That was Jita and the Power of One. You know, I love that video, and I just love what her message is in the video, because sometimes we think we have to be with a bunch of people to change the world, a bunch of people to change our neighborhood, a bunch of people who can change a school, but you can do it just by yourself. You know, you have so much power that's within you, that you can go out and change the world. As a matter of fact, this weekend, we were at the Martin Luther King Memorial in Washington, D.C. My husband, my son, and my father. Shout out to Reverend Haygood. I know you're watching right now. And it was just so wonderful just to think about how one man One man changed the world. And then just to see his statue, his monument is in the middle of all those presidents. This black man from Alabama,
Right.
a preacher from Alabama who decided to take a stand. I'm not going to take it anymore.
Right.
And I'm going to take that stand. So you do have power within yourself, and just start wherever you are. So there's the power of one.
The power of one.
That's right. That's right. Well, I want to welcome my guest here today, Elder Juliet Davis.
Thank you so much for having me. It
Oh,
was a welcome invitation.
Oh, I'm so happy you were able to join us. You were here, I think, our first season that we were on the air. This is maybe my 6th season on the air, and in the last 3 years. And so I think you were maybe one of my first guests, and we were talking about dreams and visions during that time.
We were, and that was an exciting show.
It really was. We have to come back and we'll do that again another
Definitely.
time as well. Well, tell our audience a little bit about yourself.
Well, I am a young woman, let me say that off the cuff, up front. But I am a native of Washington, D.C. Been here in the Richmond area for about 14 years. I work in ministry full-time as the Chief Operations Officer at Mount Gilead Full Gospel. Shout out to all the Mount Gilead members who are tuning in right now. My passion is really to see people set free by the Word of God. Whenever I see someone in bondage, I identify with the oppression that they're feeling, and knowing that there is a way out really provokes me to want to share that. So whether it's women's ministry or youth or just people across the board, that's my passion. I just recently got back from Thailand.
Oh, wow.
Went over there to work in the arena of human trafficking. We'll have to do another show on that, because that is a powerful ministry that's going forth in a nation where the sex trade and sex tourism is the #1 industry over there. And so to be able to take the light of Jesus Christ into a dark place and pierce the darkness is a powerful experience.
It really
and so
is. Wow.
it really reminds you of the fundamentals of why we do what we do. You know, because sometimes over here, it can be so dressed up and so commercial that when we get over to a place where they don't have all of this, and it just comes down to the Word of God and the love of God, then it makes all the difference in the world.
That's right. In our last season, your co-pastor Elena Robertson was our guest, and she talked a little bit about that, and it was just amazing. I said we definitely have to do an entire show on that, because one of the things that I found interesting about that, and I know we're going to talk about our other subject, but one thing that I found interesting about that is that our neighbor, you know, the little girl next door to us or the little boy next door that all of a sudden showed up that wasn't there before, it could be a product of some type of human trafficking. So we really need to pay attention on what's going on even in our own lives, in our own surroundings, because that happens not only in the other countries, but it happens even in our country, under our nose.
Absolutely. I mean, what I learned in the last 2 years, this is my 2nd trip to Thailand, and I've learned so much having come back and realized that because of where Richmond is located, we are literally on the trafficking route from New York back down to Florida.
Right.
And so oftentimes young women and young men even will be caught up in human trafficking. And although they may start out in Richmond, because Richmond is on 95, then the next stop is DC and into New York and back down 95. And so there's a lot of that that's going on right under our nose, literally. Highways around Richmond, through Richmond, are major thoroughfares where this activity is taking place. So
and we need
it's
to be
an
careful
eye-opening
with our
experience.
Children. Be careful with our children.
Oh, absolutely.
You turn your back and you know your child is gone, and you know, and somebody, and you're right, it's 95 is right there. They can hit the road, and before they can get the Amber Alert out, they're gone. So yeah, is there a website that someone could even go to check out more information about that?
Well, there is one. You can go to xpmedia.com. That's the organization that we partnered with in Thailand, and they are doing a huge work in that arena. And I know that for sure they have information out there. We actually had a blog while we were in Thailand, and so
talked about it.
That was something that you can also check out, because each day we talked about what we were doing in the field and the lives that were being changed.
Well, I'm challenging even our audience that's watching us today to contact Elder Juliet at her website, which is julietdavisministries.org, and let her know that you're interested in even partnering with her group and with Mount Gilead to, maybe even go on one of the trips to Thailand and be a part of it. I know I'd love to go. So
well, it really,
great.
grabs your heart when you see the bondage. And as I said, Jesus was moved with compassion. And I mean,
Right.
when you see someone that's being oppressed and they don't know there is a way out, and you have the opportunity to share that with them, that makes all the difference in the world.
It really does. It really does. Wow. That's good. I'm glad we got a chance to mention that because we weren't talking about that for right now, but I'm glad we got a chance to mention that.
Well, let me say this. They should go to Mount Gilead's website, which is thebalmandgilead.org. And on the left navigational bar, there's a drop-down menu under the heading of missions. And that would be where you can look up international missions and then get the information about the trip and read the blog and, just learn more about what we were able to do there.
Oh, that's great. Perfect. So, someone needed to hear that today because, like I said, that wasn't even on our agenda to talk about, but someone needed to hear that today. So if that's you listening, know that it's not by accident that you're watching today.
Absolutely.
And God sent you to this station for you to hear that. So take heed of that. Well, you know what? I want to talk about a couple things before we go into our topic. So much is going on in the world right now, and with church people, as we say, church people. And one of the big stories that's going on is Creflo Dollar and the abuse charge. It was that he was charged with striking his child. Okay, which is crazy for those of us who are a little bit older. We wouldn't have thought of calling the police on our parents. Although some of our parents should be still in jail about now for
what they did.
Exactly. But it's crazy that you have this person who is trying, to save the world. He's trying to save his community, and you have a child that comes in. And I'm sure there's some, the situation, there's always two sides to the story. But from what I understand, the young woman wanted to go to a party, 15-year-old.
Right.
Wanted to go to a party in midnight around that time, and he didn't want her to go. And of course, which most of us would not allow most of us wouldn't even allow our 16 or 17-year-olds to go to
leave the house at that time.
Exactly. And if they lived in my house, they could have been 18 and couldn't leave the house at that time to go to a party. So, so what do you think about that? What is your...
Well, one of the things that has really struck me about this is how challenging it is to be a man or woman of God in the forefront, that your life is literally under a microscope. I call it the fishbowl effect, where everybody can see in, and then once they see in, if there's one thing that goes on, everybody has a take on it and everybody has an opinion. And it almost overshadows the amazing years of ministry that this man has done, not just in this nation, but all over the world.
Right, him and his wife.
Right, exactly. It almost tends to overshadow that when you think about the legacy and the wealth of work that has been done for the kingdom and the sacrifices that they have made to build a ministry where disciples are being trained and developed and sent out. And all of the things that I'm not going to list that ministry has done. Pioneering, really television ministry at a time when there wasn't a whole lot of us on national television preaching the gospel, and more importantly, teaching the gospel, which is something that, is definitely life-changing. So that grieves me to think that would be the overshadowing moment, is to talk about this incident. The second thing is that I think, like you said, there's a lot more to this than any of us will ever know. The dynamics of that household, the disciplining that already went on with the daughter, and how that chain of events occurred. I did have a chance to see him make the statement to his congregation about what actually happened, and he said that it was a situation where he was trying to keep her from swinging at him, and that it did get in a violent state in a sense because he was trying to keep her from swinging at him.